Feels like a lifetime ago that the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship was last on track, and after an in-season, off-season, the 24-car field is only a matter of hours from getting the season back underway. Tonight, we are joined on the eve of the Sydney SuperSprint by Brad Jones Racing driver Todd Hazelwood, driver of the number 14 Holden ZB Commodore, now backed by Brute military-grade anti-perspirants. Todd, thanks for your time this evening.
Thanks, guys. No, I appreciate you having me on board here tonight. Obviously, it's a little bit different doing a Zoom meeting in my hotel room rather than just talking at the track, but glad to be back and can't wait to get in the race car tomorrow.
Talk me through today. I can imagine it's been a bit unlike any other experience you've had before in your life, let alone your career, going through the airport. I can't imagine there would have been many people around.
Yeah, for me, it was pretty wild, pretty different. Certainly getting to Melbourne Airport first thing this morning, checking in, and it was quite weird, to be honest. Looking all the way down from one end of the terminal to the other and not seeing a person in sight. I think I was one of the first persons to arrive because I was under the impression to try and get there early because it's been nearly 16 weeks since I last caught my flight, which was returning back from Adelaide for round one of the Supercars Championships. So, quite weird. Obviously, just trying to take all the safety precautions and using, I suppose, all the regulations that have been put in place from the government and health, obviously with the face masks and trying to, stay clean and ensure that there's no threats to hamper what we're trying to do here at Sydney this weekend. Obviously, we got our temperatures checked at the gate. We have to sign in via an app there's essentially a checklist of things that we have to tick off to ensure that we're not a threat to anyone else, because that's the biggest thing. Even if we feel okay, obviously there's elements put in place to ensure that if there is an issue that we can prevent it ASAP, and Supercars and everyone else involved in this program has done a lot of homework to ensure that our workplace is safe. And essentially, in the day, that's what we're doing. We are going to work, back to work after 14 weeks. It's hard to believe it's been so long now. Getting through that checkpoint gate and seeing all the rest of the team set up, seeing all the familiar faces. People see, I suppose, the rivalry side of our sport, but it's also friends and all the other people that we associate ourselves with week in, week out. It's essentially we're a moving circus, if you call it. We're normally racing every second or third weekend. So to not see those people there for a while was quite weird. It's the longest time I've been outside the race car as well. So a great feeling.
Now you're back at the hotel. I gather it's set up with Queensland teams on one side of the hotel and Victorian teams on the other side. Is it almost a bit like State of Origin?
Yeah, I think they're treating the Victorians like convicts. They're not too happy with all the rise in cases we've had lately. So they've thrown us all at one dirty end of the hotel, and all the Queenslanders are living in prime. Apparently, they've got the pool and the gym up their end, I hear. So it's a bit of a rolling joke, but in all seriousness, know that we're trying to do everything that we can to ensure that we are safe, no matter where it be, whether it be at the racetrack, jumping into the hire car, getting to the track. The racetrack itself is literally across the road from the racetrack. So we're pretty fortunate being here at Sydney Motorsport Park. That certainly makes it understandable why this was round one, because there's not too many tracks that have this style of setup ready to go. That's accommodating for both states to arrive into, obviously keeping in mind that there's still some states that we can't even enter into yet. So pretty fortunate that the borders are open here in New South Wales, and we can all meet up and go racing and try and do what we do. Once the TV cameras are rolling, the cars are out on track. Hopefully, it won't look too much different from what we're used to.
They've thrown a bit of a curveball to you guys this weekend and said, "All right, you get 2 rattle guns and you have to take a minimum of 2 tyres." But obviously, if you want to maximise the grip on your car, you take 4. But that's going to obviously come at the expense of spending time in the pit lane. So, do you take the risk and say, we're at a high deck circuit, we need to cut some time and hopefully gain some track position? And do you take the 2 tyres, or do you really, go to the circuit knowing that how tough it is on tyres and say, okay, we really have to stick with a 4 tyre stop?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of ways you can skin the cat, and there's something that we've never really been used to, just purely on the basis that you normally have 4 rattle guns on all 4 corners of the car, so that the time deficit was never there. Whereas, as you said, now that we've got the option to either take a minimum of 2 tyres, so essentially you could run the option of taking tyres on the right hand side, which would be a loaded side around Sydney Motorsport Park, or you may take rears. Some people may take fronts. Some people might take 3 tyres, and you'd have three people on one side and then one person on the left to either do a left front or a left rear. So there's going to be a lot of strategies unfolding, and I think it's definitely going to depend on how you qualify and how you feel like your race is going. You might qualify well and be at the front, and you may have a plan in place of how many tyres you want to take. But keeping in mind, if you're having a bad race and things just aren't going right, you've got damage to the car, you might only put 2 tyres on. And the reason for that is that then you can start adding tyres towards Sunday, because that can work in your advantage come race day on Sundays. So it's trying to be smart, trying to strategize when you should use your tyres, when you shouldn't. And I think that's going to mix up the results, because we're going to see some instances throughout the race where some people might start on a good set of tyres. Even going to qualifying, I think we're going to see some form of strategy where people may not use all 4 green tyres in qualifying. They might try and save a left front in the shootout, or if they know that they're not so competitive, but they've made the shootout, but they're not really certain on getting inside the top 10, they might just roll the dice and save 2 green tyres, which then you'd use for the Sunday allocation. So it's quite an interesting strategy map that's been rolled out for this weekend with the new rule change. I think it's fantastic. Obviously, when you take the element away of the fuel strategy and obviously the longer races, which you'd have different alternative fuel loads and things like that would generally mix up the field and create good racing. But I think what Supercars have done now with the tyres is I think replace that really well. And I think what we're also going to see is potentially a mixed results, particularly in that top 5. And obviously it's renowned that we always generally see the best teams and the best drivers at the front. And maybe this weekend we might see a bit of a mixed result, which I'm certainly hoping to capitalise on myself.
I was going to say, do you think you can cause a bit of an upset?
Mate, that's what I'm here for. I'm always here for an upset. I'm not here to come last. I'm here to to the best job possible and try and move forward. And I'm pretty excited to be part of Brad Jones Racing and to have Brute military grade on the car this weekend. It looks fantastic. It looks fast. So hopefully we can execute some good results in return for that, and really start to kick off this new style of championship in a good form.
All right, Todd, I think that pretty much covers it. Thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll have some strong results this weekend in that Brute military grade anti-purr sprints Holden ZB Commodore.
Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. And bring on the weekend. Can't wait.